Hello everyone, welcome back to Discovering Dawson's Creek here on It's a Wonderful Podcast, both on the YouTube channel, of course. Subscribe and ding your notification bell if you are watching today's episode, or of course if you are listening on one of the many podcast platforms you may be listening on. Do subscribe, make sure you're subscribed wherever you are listening today, and leave all your comments and all that great stuff before we get on with the show. We're back after the chaos of last time and the promicide and all the breakups and the terribleness of Dawson's Creek to some surprisingly quite positive episodes, which, I mean, I'm not going to say come out of nowhere because it's understandable as to why they're sort of, you know, quietly positive a lot of the time, these episodes. But it feels like quite a nice change, because I don't know, we've been getting a lot of strife, haven't we? We've been getting a lot of negativity, a lot of misery, a lot of bottled up negative emotions from various characters in Capeside over the last few episodes. But in these two today, it's kind of reflective. I mean, we are at the very, very end of the school year now. The second episode we are talking today is the graduation. So it's the very end. There's no more high school, no more Capeside High for these guys. Even though we thought there might be some more Capeside High for one of them, but you know, even there's not any more for him either, which was very nice and very heartwarming how that comes about.
Played out.
But it is very, very strongly a time for reflection, I think, in these couple of episodes. And I think it leaves us in a really sort of heartwarming place. I mean, the episode's titles are Separation Anxiety and The Graduate. The Graduate there. Clearly playing on the title of the Dustin Hoffman movie, but also very specifically about one particular character who I don't think, you know, comes as a surprise as to who we're referring to there. But Separation Anxiety is a good title, I think, for this first episode, because yes, it brings with it a lot of reflection, like I've said, certainly anxiety, but it's separation in different ways. The breakups, as we saw in Promicide, we have anxiety over, you know, those, you know, relationships now being separated. What does that mean going forward? The characters are also going to be separating from Capeside as a unit, aren't they? Capeside as a town, as a place, as a safety net, and branching out with their lives, with their educational careers into you know, new pastures. So obviously there's going to be anxiety there as well. Jeannine, what do we make of these two episodes coming right in the aftermath of the Promicide?
Yeah, I mean, these two episodes are kind of glimmers of memories for me, because this is kind of where I start to kind of not wholly remember too many specifics. So it's nice to kind of, you know, feel
Jeannine no longer cares about Dawson's Creek.
No, it's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I haven't rewatched it in a while, and I think because the kind of season 1 to 3 storylines were really kind of intense. Those are kind of the seasons I remember the most.
It's also kind of easier to go back and rewatch earlier seasons, because you feel like you have to start at the beginning anyway. So it's obviously going to be, you're not just going to go back for a rewatch of season 6, are you? That would be silly.
Exactly. And even when I've started a rewatch, I haven't maybe gone all the way through, because I know me and my sister-in-law, who I kind of, you know, started watching the show with, and even when she moved away, we would watch it over the phone, just sitting on the phone watching it, and then gab about what happened in between the commercial breaks. Like when we get together, we kind of will watch a couple episodes, and so, you know, that takes forever because we live in two different places. So yeah, these end up kind of being the episodes I remember the most, but now kind of getting to the end of season 4, going into season 5 in the college years, now it's just kind of glimmers of things I remember, kind of major plot points I remember, but things end up kind of still have me like, I can't quite remember where this goes or how this ends. So, kind of seeing what happens with our couples post promicide and seeing kind of the maturity in how they kind of are able
Yeah.
to discuss their relationships, handle them, really kind of understanding what's best for them, even though it hurts. I think
Positive
was
selfishness, isn't it, a
yes.
lot?
So it's really beautifully handled, I think, with both our couples, really just kind of knowing what's best for them, wanting what's best for the other person, and knowing that it's hard, knowing that it doesn't mean that the love isn't there, but just knowing
Yeah.
kind of it's just not really the right time. And so we get some really beautiful, I think, closure with these episodes, which I really enjoyed. And obviously the whole focus really kind of the season kind of in the background was this Pacey's academic status. So I really loved the
Yes.
way they handled all of that with him in these 2 episodes as well. So those were kind of my favorite aspects, the handling of these 2 like big relationships and, Pacey's kind of story. So
Yeah. I mean, while this is episodes 21 and 22, it's still not the finale of the season.
yeah.
There is still one episode left, but it does feel like an awful lot of storylines are closing really well
hmm
in these couple of episodes. Like nothing's been forgotten about, or nothing feels
Yeah,
like
like we
it's been
could have
forgotten
ended the
about.
season here, I think.
We could have done quite easily. I think we could
Yeah.
have ended the season with the end of The Graduate. I think it's a lovely way to end, a lovely sort of
hmm
final shot of a season.
Yeah.
It quite surprises me, given that that was the final shot of the episode, that we actually get another
Another
episode after
episode
that.
coming. Yeah. It's like, what could that
It's just,
possibly be?
what could it be? Just kind of structure wise,
Yeah.
it seems to make sense to me that way, but we'll see, won't we, next time out when we do talk that finale on its own.
Yeah.
But I like that nothing feels like it's been half-heartedly thought about or maybe forgotten about or left in the dirt.
Yeah.
Everything seems to be getting a nice bow on it in
hmm
season 4. And while I think I would agree with you, maybe season 4 as a season doesn't quite have the highs of thrills or whatever it may be of the first 3. I think it's still a great season and a very interesting season of television, and
hmm
certainly obviously of Dawson's Creek itself. And I like that it's ending strong. I think obviously the Promicide episode was a very, very strong episode.
Yeah.
A horrible one to watch, a tough one to watch, but
Yeah.
a very strong episode. I like that we are ending strongly in terms of, I think, the writing, basically, of this season. I think it needed it to solidify sort of quality, and I like that we're getting that. So do we want to get the binder out now, Jeannine, to get into
Yes.
this first episode we're talking today, Separation Anxiety?
Yeah. Separation Anxiety aired May 9th, 2001. As the school year draws to a close, changes abound for the class of 2001. While Joey and Dawson deal with their respective breakups, Jen makes a startling decision about her future. In his own way, Jack helps Jen to rethink it. Meanwhile, Dawson has his own decision to make with regards to Gretchen when an unusual opportunity comes their way. And when Mr. Kubelik from Worthington asks Joey to bring Pacey with her to a party for incoming freshmen, which fills the pair with hope that they might be able to have a future together after all. Joey and Pacey come to terms with the end of their romance.
Yes, they do. Mr. Kubelik, not Miss Kubelik, Shirley MacLaine from The Apartment, obviously, which is a little bit unfortunate how it's not that. It just reminds me how great of a movie that is.
Yeah.
But yes, there's like I said, it's interestingly reflective, and I think obviously we're getting, levels above maturity from Gretchen aren't we? Naturally in this
Yeah.
episode as well. And her struggles with kind of needing to leave Cape Side.
Yeah.
Not wanting to leave Dawson. Dawson doesn't want to leave her either. We had all these conversations last time out.
Yeah.
But it is undoubtedly just the most sensible, correct thing to do. At this point, it's not going to work out for the two of them in the next few years while Dawson's off at college and Gretchen obviously wants to get back into quote unquote sorting a life out, you know.
Yeah.
There needs to be a more selfish focus from the two of them. Pacey and Joey's kind of reflection and their kind of coming to a mutual understanding, I think it's tougher that you know, it must be tougher to get there for the two of them, given how explosive that breakup was.
Yeah.
So it's quite surprising to me that it seems to not take that long for them to be quite genial with each other again.
You also have to remember that they did have kind of that cool off conversation at the table after the prom.
That is true.
There was a bit of simmering to kind of for Pacey to really reflect and more clearly express his feelings. So while that whole moment and breakup and thing with them at the prom was very explosive and very aggressive, they did have a simmer down kind of conversation post that. So if you think on kind of like a few days passing, a week passing, whatever, cooler heads kind of can really simmer.
It is fair.
Prevail in that aspect, and him really kind of reflecting, because we hear him even talk about like how he hates himself for how he talked to her, and
of course he's not going to feel good about it.
Yes, and he regrets even blaming her for, you know, how he was feeling. So I think had we ended with the only kind of last conversation being the yelling, then I could understand why it would be really jarring to kind of all of a sudden see them kind of ease back into kind of this cordial thing, because this episode, there is kind of this hope and this kind of ease of them reconciling, because when Pacey even goes to pick her up for the dinner, like they almost kiss, you know?
Yeah, it is very nearly, let's just forget kind what happened and carry on.
So I could understand it feeling more jarring, but then you have to remember, they did have that kind of more still, calm conversation post the fight. So
I mean, I don't know if this dinner sequence is kind of retreading old steps as well, because it is, I think they speak about it anyway. Pacey speaks about it anyway. He feels, obviously, like, yes, he's going to go there. It's Worthington College again. Obviously, this is where Joey's now going to be going. You know, and he's there watching Joey ease into everything. And he's going with this sort of belief that the dean of admissions or whatever,
there might be some kind of loophole for him, because that's how he kind of sells it to Joey almost. He's like, oh, I hope you bring Pacey even if you guys aren't together, because she's honest about how they broke up. But he asks, well, you guys at least friends? And she lies and says, we talk all the time. He's like, well, please bring him, because I have a big opportunity for him. I want to talk to him. You know, me and the dean would like to talk to him, and dean of admissions. So, you know, they're thinking like, okay, this could be some kind of chance for him to also go to college. So I'm going to bring, so then that's also kind of, I love that despite kind of the weird feeling between them, Joey still sees this as an opportunity for Pacey. And she, you know, as difficult as it is to talk to him, she still makes the effort to go, because she knows how good this could be for him. Maybe and obviously he's expecting anything, you know, from it in terms of their relationship.
It's just the sort of right thing to do in her mind, which is absolutely fair. And Pacey's obviously going to this now somewhat tentatively excited that he might be being offered some way out of Cape Side. It's the only thing he still wants, is some way out of Cape Side. And it just the reality of it is a little bit damper than that, really, isn't it? It feels a little bit uncomfortably
Yeah,
sort of
it's sad. It's like,
classist in
yeah.
a way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a blow because and then just kind of you said it's very kind of treading old ground, but it's like a nice juxtaposition to the first party, which yes, as you said, they do mention. Like the first party, she was kind of really nervous and didn't
Yeah,
feel like she fit in with these other students. But now at this party, Pacey's watching her really comfortably talk to everybody and breezing from conversation to conversation. So she's kind of ready, where in the last party, she really kind of needed his backup.
yeah,
So that on top of then him like hearing what the offer really is, and it's for him to kind of be a deckhand on the dean's boat in the Caribbean
yeah.
for the summer, a summer
Do you want?
job.
Yeah, basically, do you want to be the help for me on
Yeah,
this boat?
exactly.
It's like,
The pay's not
come
great,
on.
but be good experience. Um,
You get to go to the Caribbean islands. It's like, yeah, sure, I'd like to
yeah,
go
but
to the
when you're
Caribbean islands, but I don't
exactly,
want to
I'd
be
love to
doing
be on a
this.
boat again, but when I'm expecting some kind of hopeful doorway to college, and this is what I'm hearing,
Yeah,
it's kind of a blow. And then he immediately turns around and sees Joey kind of, uh, being ready to move on to this next step,
yeah,
and potentially without him. Um, it's kind of a gut punch, and you could be kind of maybe hesitant and fearful that this might kind of dig up all of those feelings that he had about her at
you
the
could.
prom. But I love that he's kind of taken the time to kind of really recontextualize those feelings, and he's really happy for her, but he's still of course sad that it's not what he wanted it to be. And
Yeah,
he's like, I should just go and let you enjoy the party, but she's like, "No, I'm not staying here without you." So she takes his hand and they leave together. So another kind of like positive, like, okay, she's still kind of seeing them as a unit, as a team, as, she doesn't want to do this without him, even though her experience is kind of different than it was the first time.
yeah,
Um, so it's a nice kind of scene to set that like things are still good with them at least. It's not where it was last
yeah.
episode. And there's some care there and for what each other needs and what each other wants, despite them,
And it's quite
having this
clear.
rift. Yeah.
It's quite clear in that way as well. It's not, nobody's trying to pretend it's anything that it's not anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Like
trying to say
Pacey
it's,
pretending to that everything is fine when it wasn't.
no, we're not trying to go back to where we were, because we both know that it's not right now to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it's clear in both of their minds where they are now, and I think that's absolutely fair enough.
Mhm.
That's kind of the best way to break up, almost, isn't it? No matter
Yeah.
if it's a a breakup for a bad reason or a breakup for like a mutually sort of change of circumstance reason, whatever it may be. Both parties have to understand the clarity of why that's happened and
Yeah.
what that means for this particular dynamic going forward. And I
Yeah.
think they both do now,
Yeah.
as do Dawson and Gretchen as well,
Yeah.
because that's a different sort of toughness in how that situation goes on. I mean, there's letters being written. There's
Yeah.
Gretchen can't quite face saying a proper goodbye to Dawson. It's
Yeah.
really quite difficult. But they both understand why that needed to happen and care for each other, and there's no hard feelings there when obviously she does then.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, we open this episode with Gail kind of going to Dawson and asking if he's talked to Gretchen, and he's like, "Well, I don't see any need to talk to her. She kind of ended things." And Gail informs him that she put in her notice at the restaurant that she's going to be leaving town.
Yeah,
And then Dawson also kind of reads that, well, if she was leaving town and she didn't feel like she needed to tell me, then that's probably also a sign that like it's really done. But Gail kind of implores him to talk to her. She's like, "Why don't you just take your yearbook and let her sign it, and peace offering kind of thing." So he's hesitant to do so, but he decides to go there. It's her last night of work. Brings his yearbook. He almost kind of turns around and leaves. But he ultimately stays there and talks to her. And It's kind of an awkward conversation, but it's very kind of cordial, and there's this understanding that it really has nothing to do with like lack of care or lack of feelings. It's just very much kind of that fear of them being in different places. And then ultimately Dawson kind of comes to her later and says, I'm going to go with you. Let's just spend the summer
Yeah.
together. I don't want to, have regrets. Like I don't want to, that I missed out on being with you without kind of all these other things in the way, the Boston job and me going to school and Joey and all of that. Like I don't want that to be, I want to just be on the road with you and let it just be us and not have any kind of other obstacles really in our way, and see kind of what that looks like.
The Dawson idealism's coming back out.
Exactly. Yes. And she's kind of on board with it, but he has to decide. And she's like, well, what about your graduation? You're going to miss it. And he's like, well, I don't care. Like, there's going to hand me a dumb piece of paper. Yeah. He's like, because I mean, even if he doesn't show up at graduation, it doesn't mean he doesn't graduate. So he's just fine, like missing graduation. And Gretchen's like, are you sure? So he decides, yeah, he's going to go. But now it's like we see him kind of starting a letter to his parents telling them that he's leaving because he's just going to kind of sneak away and go with
he's
her.
Never ever going to. I would never believe that. I never bought it for a second. He's never
that would actually have happened. Well, I mean, he would have. It wasn't on him.
Way too comfortable.
Well, it wasn't really. And then we see like a lot of him with his baby sister and all of that kind of thing, and Gretchen kind of observes him with his baby sister, and it really kind of sees the things that she's kind of might be taking him away from. And
you know what he would have done? Had Gretchen not just left in the middle of the night without, a face-to-face goodbye.
Yeah.
He would have gone with her, panicked after 3 days, and then
probably wanted to go back. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, he's kind of all gung-ho to go, and she kind of just something about kind of her coming over to his place that night and them kind of thinking about it. We see kind of this look and realization on her face, like I feel like I'm going to be taking him away from something. I feel like I'm going to be a distraction to this time that I think he really needs to. He'll regret not being a part of or something. Like we can read this on her face. So ultimately, when Dawson,
it'd be like when you were a child and you're threatened to run away from home and you got as far as the end of the driveway.
Yes, exactly. So ultimately he goes there to pick her up, and then he sees his yearbook like propped up there on the railing, and she signed it with a note basically telling him that she left and she's sorry and she doesn't need to be on the road with him for a summer to fall in love with him because she's already in love with him, and she's sorry she kind of had to do it this way. Yeah, and he's very much like she says that she was kind of worried to, because if he came to the door, it would have been harder for her to tell him this face to face because she might not have been able to have the courage to tell him no.
Would have been too difficult to say.
Exactly. Yeah. And she tells him like her plan is to go back to school, and like she doesn't want to pull him away from anything, that she feels like this is the most important time for him, and she doesn't want to kind of be responsible for him missing out on that. But, thanking him for opening her back up to loving somebody again and trusting somebody again. And it's a very kind of nice, reflective thing that she writes in this yearbook. And then she kind of has a playful, have a bitch in summer that like everyone says in your yearbook. And that makes him laugh. So
not in my yearbook. I mean, we didn't really do that, to be honest with you, which is something, to be honest, that I think Britain, I don't know if they do it now, Britain should adopt, like many of the other US customs Britain has adopted for the end of high school.
So you don't even sign your books at all?
We sign, because obviously we have school uniforms, so smart shirts and all that. We sign each other's shirts. So we sign each other's shirts with a tiny little message in like your name and that sort of stuff. So I still have it somewhere, my school shirt signed, full of just Sharpies and all sorts of things.
Okay. Yeah, we have a whole like
so it's the same concept,
your yearbook off and sign it, and it always like have a great summer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same concept, but I think the yearbook it feels a little bit more special, I suppose. You can end up making a longer sort of message, can't you? It's obviously a book that feels a bit more formal.
Yeah, look back on pictures.
That.
Yeah, hearts drawn on your crushes and all kinds of silliness. And just
exactly, but it's memory, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a nice time capsule because I still have all of my yearbooks from junior high on. So,
I didn't realize you got them every year. I thought you just got them
in elementary school. They were like a thin, like cheapy paper one.
Okay.
And then junior high, it was like a solid booklet. So I had 7th grade, 8th grade, and like all the 4 from high school yearbooks, big, thick things with all the student pictures and all kinds of things. So so I like that, she signs it a kind of a fun way. And then Dawson kind of ends with a smile. So we know that like he completely he's not sad. Well, he's probably sad, but he understands it. So it's kind
there's closure there.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's closure in the sense that maybe it could be open again a few years down the line, if situations bring us back together and we're both in kind of steady mid-20s, mid late 20s, lives, then who's to say it couldn't happen? I think it leaves that open, but it is closure for this important time now, allowing the both of them to then go and just focus off on themselves. And this is exactly what we need.
Exactly. So and then we get a
good reflective breakups going.
Exactly. On. Yeah. And then, Joey and Pacey obviously end up kind of having that conversation as well. Where they do have to kind of have this honest talk about, you're going to go off and do your thing. I'm going to go off and do my thing. I don't even know if I'm going to graduate. So, let's just kind of let each other go because we know that's what we need to do. And I wish we didn't have to. And they kind of are in agreement that they wish they didn't have to, but they know they need to. And she kind of takes his hand. So there's a love there and there's an understanding there and there's a care there for what's best for both of them. And again, a very kind of closure filled, mature kind of ending of their relationship.
Definitely. But the starting of something for Mr. McPhee, because Jack's got a boyfriend now. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I think that's more in the second episode.
It is, but it does happen in this. I think they do actually, or Tobey at least has this conversation with Jack in this first episode.
Yeah. So are
you going to call me your boyfriend? You can't really do that yet, can you? And he's being all obnoxious, and Tobey obviously. And Jack's like, shut up, I will. Promise.
Yeah, when the time is right.
Shut up about it. It'll be fine. Well, in quiet company, in intimate company, when we're on our own.
When are you going to say, when are you going to call me
not in public.
Yeah. So Jack being more open about kind of all of that because he's still, open, but still has this kind of insecurity about, expressing it publicly and that kind of thing. So we see him kind of get over that hurdle a little bit. In these episodes, which is great.
You feel like he wouldn't be the most comfortable person at a pride parade?
Probably not. At least now. At least not yet.
At least now, yeah. But I mean, and that's still quite sad to a degree, isn't it? I suppose that he still feels, there's still growth within Jack's comfortability with his own sexuality to come. Although it's obviously come an awful long way from the coming out, hasn't it? Which was a big whole traumatic situation.
So a nice step forward for him. And then we are dealing with Jen and Grams planning on selling her house.
Phenomenal Jen and Grams stuff going on in these couple of episodes.
Yes. Grams feeling like she needs to sell her house so she can pay for Jen's college, and Jen like, I don't want you to do that. Like, if this is what it takes for me to go to college, then I just won't go. I'll figure something else out. And Graham's feeling like, she has to do this. And so just this kind of hard love from both sides of it is so beautiful. Graham's kind of looking to move into this retirement community and it not being kind of the best experience. No. They're already kind of getting berated by this old lady security guard. You gotta have a pass. if you want to come here, you got to have a pass. And then you got to call ahead to have a pass. And if you don't have a pass, then you're not getting in without a pass.
Like, Grams, you can't come here. This place is ridiculous.
Exactly. And so they kind of get into an argument, but it's like this argument of love. Like, Grams, I don't want you to give up your home for me. And Grams is like, I'm gonna give up my home for you. Like, I need to do this for you.
Yeah.
So it ends up kind of being this back and forth between the two of them, just because of the sheer love they have.
There's suggestions of Grams moving to Boston,
Yes.
alongside Jen as well, which I really like that sort of discussion.
Yeah.
What would I do in Boston? There'd be nothing for me to do in Boston. There'd be lots for you to do in Boston,
yes,
Grams.
Exactly.
And I kind of need you there with me. And that openness from Jen is so beautiful, I think, at this particular point.
Yeah. And a nice resolution to her stress about New York and college and all of that.
Yeah.
That she could be somewhere else, not New York, and be with Grams still. So
I think they need each other, the Jen and Grams.
So I liked that little bit of them kind of going back and forth on this, what's going to happen to that relationship, post high school. Yeah,
definitely. Should we get into this graduation?
Yes,
is it about time to get our blue caps and gowns on and start throwing things in the air? And Principal Skinner's back, isn't he? Which is fun.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of FaceTime in this episode. So The Graduate aired May 16th, 2001. As graduation approaches, Joey has a tough time preparing her speech, and Dawson helps her find some bittersweet inspiration. Joey gets an unexpected surprise gift from her late mother. Pacey wonders if he's going to graduate at all, and he worries that his last final will be the toughest one. He walks out of it after the teacher makes a comment on him, costing him his diploma. Meanwhile, Andy McPhee returns home for the cap and gown ceremony and is surprised to meet Jack's new boyfriend, Tobey, and a devious drunk who has just moved to Jen's after being kicked out of his home by his mother after a fight. Convinces Jen to help him pull a hilarious senior prank. Pacey tells
it's not hilarious.
And Pacey tells Andy he has decided to take the job offer on the boat for the summer.
Yeah. So, I mean, the synopsis ends there, and I kind of immediately want to talk about Pacey and how he decides to just go and live his own life.
Yeah, we see kind of everybody, at the graduation rehearsal, Principal Skinner, which we're just calling him that.
He's not called Principal Skinner. He's just played by Harry Shearer, who obviously is Principal Skinner.
Who voices
off of The Simpsons.
Yes, and he is the principal in this show.
Although he's not doing the same voice he uses for Principal Skinner. He's doing his regular voice, which is closer to Smithers, I think.
A little bit. Yeah. A little more snivelly. It's kind of an in-between, because he'll hit a cadence. He'll hit a Skinnery cadence every so often.
He can't help himself. He's been doing Skinner at this point for over 10 years. So, he'll get there. It'll come naturally to him.
Yes.
I mean, for God's sake, he's been doing Skinner now for over 35 years.
Yeah, so. But at this time, about 10. So, he's kind of making a big deal about the ceremony. And then we see Pacey run in, and Mitch has to go and tell him, I'm sorry, Pacey. The principal doesn't want you wasting your time here at rehearsal. He'd rather have you studying, because you're on this kind of this tipping point,
you're teetering over the edge, aren't you?
Exactly.
It depends on your last one. Can you do your last one? Can you pass
this
your
last test.
Yes, good.
Exactly. You passing this last test will determine whether you graduate or not. So the principal really wants you to study, and he's like, I can't just be here and be with my friends and enjoy the experience. And he's like, I'm sorry, it's not my choice. And so he sends him away, and then all of his friends kind of have to look all sad at him, have to not be a part of it, which is really sad. And then we get some really nice Doug stuff as well, because Doug like even offers to help Pacey study, but Pacey's just in a really kind of crappy, like already just like resigning himself to like fail because of this pressure, so he doesn't take Doug up on his offer. He's just really kind of frustrated about it.
You know, there's nice bit of brotherly affection from Doug.
Yeah, like Doug really cares about him. And then he is going into taking the test, and he brought a pencil. He was ready to go. He was a little bit late, but he got there. He pulls his pencil out, and right as he goes to write, the pencil snaps. And so he asked the teacher,
you know, if there's one thing that really goes through me, it's a pencil just and snapping.
Right? Yes. That's why mechanical pencils were so good. Yes.
Just use a pen. What's wrong with a pen? You're not allowed to use a pen.
You can use a pen, but
I don't know how.
You might need to erase stuff instead of scribbling.
Scratch it out.
No, that looks terrible. I hate scribbling.
I don't know how American standardized tests work. Is it still all those silly multiple choice things?
I mean, no. Like, depending on what the subject is, you might have to write out a whole kind of thing. But this is the same.
Do they ever have to write 3 essays in the space of 3.5 hours? That's what I had to do for my most intense exam.
Oh, gross.
Not at high school, that though, mind you. That was my film class in 6th form in college. So when I was 18.
Okay.
So my hand. I mean, if you are watching today's episode, after I had written that, my hand was literally just doing.
Oh my gosh!
I could not feel it at all.
Yes,
God knows
we would have to do that.
Paper. Yes. The handwriting must have been a ridiculous mess, because it was just like I couldn't feel my hand after a certain point.
Yes, I would have to do that with art history classes, like write a whole kind of, an analyzing of a painting or whatever.
Yes.
But I mean, he only has 45 minutes for this one, so I assume it's probably nothing
It's a sharpish test, isn't it? It's not very long.
And I want to say this teacher maybe is an English teacher, but this is a teacher that we've met a few times, and he seems to be very kind of fair. This was a teacher when Joey was, we saw earlier in the season when Joey was stressing about a test. Pacey talked to him, and he allowed Joey to retake the test. And he was very kind of thoughtful and kind, and and very kind of fair at that point. Firm but fair kind of teacher. So this is the teacher we've seen kind of Pacey have to deal with a lot in terms of trying to get his grades up and all those kinds of things. So he gets there for this test. He's prepared with his pencil, but it breaks. He asked the teacher for a pencil. The teacher ultimately makes some joke about, of course, Pacey Witter never prepared. I would be shocked if you were ever prepared for once. And Pacey really takes that personally, because he's been busting his ass and working so hard, particularly for this teacher. This is the test that's like
he's never done that. He's never treated school like this before, and finally when he has, he's still getting
shit
maligned.
Yeah, exactly. So he just takes it really frustratingly, and fair enough so that he does, because he's like, of course, yes, we all get what you're saying. I'm a big screw up like always. And he's like, oh, Pacey, I didn't mean to. Of course you didn't. I've been working my butt off on this class, and all you can do is just call me an idiot, because that's what you were trying to say, right? That I'm a stupid Pacey like always. And he's like, Pacey, I didn't mean, and kind of trying to explain, but Pacey's is already off and running.
It doesn't quite get as violent as Pacey did with the last English teacher.
Spitting in the face of that teacher. Yes.
He deserves that. I mean, it was a horrible thing.
Horrible man.
He was a disgusting man.
He was a terrible man. But this guy, he makes kind of this light joke, thinking it's not going to be a big deal. But Pacey, at this breaking point that this test means everything, he's trying. He did come prepared, but the pencil broke, and for this teacher to kind of knock him and make fun of him, even in a kind of passive way, really triggers him. And so he's like, the fact that like you don't even notice how hard I'm working, especially for you to not notice how hard I'm working.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
it's bad on the
why is there
teacher's part. It's not great for
exactly?
him to do this. They
Yeah,
shouldn't be just saying Pacey's took it hard and it was an innocent little joke. The teacher should not be making this
making
sort
fun
of
of
comment.
somebody, especially somebody who's really working as hard as Pacey and knows what is on the line with this test specifically. And Pacey's like, I don't know why everyone's, you know, getting on my case so hard for, you know, trying to pass when you should be doing everything in your power to help me pass so you can get me out of your hair, because clearly you don't care that I'm here. Clearly you don't care how hard I'm working. And the teacher is like, you know, Pacey, how dare you? You know, I'm giving you this opportunity out of the goodness of my heart kind of thing. And Pacey's like, you know what, screw you, keep your favors kind of thing. And he just gets up and leaves the test. And we see the teacher, he looks kind of shaken, like he feels bad. Like he has a bit of a guilty look on his face. Like he knows he shouldn't have made that joke. He really kind of took in Pacey's words. Even though he shouts back at him, he's kind of doing it from a teacher standpoint. You know, obviously
we are at this point.
Keep some authority in his class, but you know, as Pacey kind of storms out, we see the teacher really stood there kind of shook and feeling kind of bad, clearly, about what he did.
Surely we are thinking at this point, though, Pacey, what are you doing? Just
yes,
stop. Like
yes,
just go and take the one test you need to take.
It's like, I love your integrity, Pacey. You deserve to get that out and call that man out for treating you that way. But definitely. You need this. You need this.
But also, genuinely do not start throwing things away. And thankfully, it comes good because Mr. Kasdan, I think his name is, does pay Pacey a visit, doesn't he?
Well, even before that, Joey shows up and says, you know, I heard what happened. Can I help? And he's just very much like, it's not going to do any good. Like, it's done for me kind of thing. And, you know, he just kind of sends her away. So it's kind of building up to be like, oh my gosh, this is not a good situation for him. But then we do end up getting this nice surprise visit from Mr. Kasdan, as you said, showing up at his apartment. So
allows Pacey to take the test in the comfort of his own home. And Pacey ends up passing the test, doesn't he? So yay for Pacey, who gets his nice fake diploma and cap and gown.
Well, I mean, no, we don't actually.
Extreme
but we don't.
We don't see him do it. No, metaphorically he gets it, doesn't he? This is what I'm saying.
Yes.
I've never quite understood why American high school graduations have to be like university graduations either. Really, because it's not like that here. You know,
I mean, I
know you leave. I know both are like that, but you know, you leave high school here, I suppose it's at 16, not 18, and then yes, okay, if you want, you can go to college for 2 years until you're 18. But even the college graduation wasn't like that. You just got your results. Oh yeah, that's great. There was no big ceremony. There's no ceremony. I only ever had a ceremony at university.
Oh,
there was no other ceremony.
That's weird. Yeah, well, I mean, because your high school doesn't go all the way, like ours goes all the way to 18. So that's kind of the, I guess.
No, but even college that did go to 18, you know, the 16 to 18-year-olds, that didn't have a ceremony, and you get qualifications at the end of that. So it's weird.
That's weird. Yeah, the differences are strange, but yeah, it's a whole kind of big thing. So I love seeing Pacey. You know, he knows he's not going to the graduation, but we see him have that scene where he's just sat in the chairs, his feet propped up, feeling the wind on his face, knowing that he accomplished this thing.
In a tropical shirt because he's going to the Caribbean.
and it's very much season 1 Pacey. Like Pacey and his tropical Hawaiian shirts was like his character trait for a long time. So kind of hearkening back to season 1 Pacey, which I kind of love, that little nod. Season 1, season 2 Pacey in Hawaiian shirts. But yeah, I love him having this moment in the chairs by himself, just laid out, feeling the sun on his face, you know, and just kind of taking in the moment. And then ultimately, you know, Tobey's really nervous, and like he kind of is. They kind of try to keep it a surprise. Like, is she gonna like me? He says, and like who's she?
Yes.
And then we go to the airport, and it's Andy. She comes back so she can actually walk with her fellow classmates.
This
And
was nice. This was a nice
yes, it was good to see
little
Andy.
thing to
And
put in there.
yes, and he introduces Tobey as his boyfriend, so Andy's
He
really
does.
excited because he hadn't told her yet. And yeah, so they ultimately end up going to a kind of graduation party, and uh Andy sees Pacey there, and she ends up being the only one he tells about his plans to not graduate and take this boat job and go to the
Yeah.
Caribbean. So he's just going to fly out and go for the summer to work on this boat, and he hasn't told anybody. And Andy's kind of like, you should tell everybody. He's like, no, I don't need to compare myself to them anymore. I'm just happy that I did this for myself, and I'm really proud of myself, and so I'm just kind of gonna go.
And to
And
be
before
fair,
that,
Pacey's going to be happy on a boat. I know he's working. I know he's,
yeah, and he's
having to
excited
be
about it. Yeah,
He
despite kind
is.
of the original kind of offer being kind of a damper because he was expecting something else. Ultimately, it's like the perfect opportunity for him. So,
Yeah. It's an actual proper paying job. It might not be
yeah,
phenomenal pay, but he's only 18. So it's,
yes,
it's a actual proper paying job. And
yes, and
it's on a
getting to
boat
be
and
in the
he's in the
Caribbean.
Caribbean. And he
Exactly.
goes to, various islands in the Caribbean. I think Mr.
Mhm,
Kubelik said he would have plenty of free time to go
mhm,
exploring the islands, on his time
exactly.
off and
Yeah.
breaks and days off
Mhm.
and things like that. So that's going to be exciting to a degree for Pacey, and the fact he's
Exactly.
going off on his own is
Yeah.
a big plus for him. He can properly just focus on himself, forget all the stresses. I mean, he did this
Yeah.
last summer with Joey, didn't he? We saw.
Exactly, which is why they had this kind of lovely kind of goodbye, which of course Joey, I don't know that she knows it's a goodbye. But at this
No.
party, he sees her, and they kind of end the conversation with, if I asked the woman I love to go sailing with me for a summer,
Yeah.
um, would she say yes? And she says, you wouldn't even have to ask. So just kind of this like forever kind of,
Yeah.
when the
It's
time
it's
is
it
right, we'll find
well,
our way
it's
back to each other kind of mentality.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's also a kind of we'll always have Paris mentality as
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
we're always going to have each other in our hearts and minds no matter what, and that's a nice way to end any sort of
Yeah.
relationship, by not fully ending it, I suppose, by remembering that person as a positive force in your life,
Yeah.
and somebody you would happily welcome back into your life after
Yeah.
you've gone and done what you need to do,
Mhm.
which is exactly obviously how Pacey ends the episode,
Yeah.
going off and sailing off. And I suppose, I mean, are we going to see Pacey in the finale at all? Maybe. I suppose we see him get stuck into working on the boat, but I don't know if we see him
Yeah, because 'cause
in
we're
the
going into
finale. I don't know
summer.
what this
So,
finale looks like.
yeah, like, honestly, I have to say I don't quite remember, like, how we show kind of the summer before college. I think we do have a bit of a conversation with Joey and Dawson about, um, like, what are they gonna do? Because I think Joey is in Cape
Yeah,
Side for the full summer, but Dawson's gonna be going, already to California.
yeah,
So he's not gonna
pretty
be there
soon.
for the summer. So yeah, so some of them are already gonna be going off, and some of them are still gonna be in Cape Side for the summer before they go off to college. So yeah, I feel like it's already gonna kind of maybe establish this kind of individual separation of our characters,
Yeah,
before we get into college in season 5. So yeah,
I think
this
it
is
would
where
have
I'm
to.
kind of like really like, I don't really kind of remember what happens. I don't remember how season 4 ends. But I'm excited to find out. I mean, nothing else really big happens. I mean, the Drew, and they're still trying to make us give a shit about Drew, and
They are, for some reason. I mean, he tries doing a graduation day prank, doesn't he? And
oh
setting the
yeah.
sprinklers off.
Yeah, he and Jen have kind of bonded a little bit, and so he, recruits her to help him do the sprinkler prank, and they
I don't
get
know
caught by the
why she
principal.
agrees to do this
I
either,
don't
because, well,
know.
he's moved into Grams, hasn't he, for a few days because
he like sneaks in there because he got in a big fight with his mom, so that's supposed to make us care about him. I still don't fucking care about him. But they ultimately get caught by the principal, and then he brings them, instead of, you know, letting them go or whatever kind of punishment, and they're on their way to like the big you know, graduation party that everyone's at. He brings them to his house and badly plays the cello for them all night. So they miss the party and have to sit through him badly playing the cello. So that's kind of their punishment.
No parties for you two. You get to listen to me not know how to play the cello. But I love the cello. The cello means so much to me. I'm not even going to attempt to do a Harry Shearer impression because I just
it's very specific. Don't make me do it at the end of this episode.
I will not make you do it at the end of this episode. There are certain Simpsons characters that I feel like I can do. Anybody by Harry Shearer, I don't think is one.
I feel like my Principal Skinner kind of voice, his voice would come out like Ben Kingsley is the Mandarin voice. Especially since I've been watching Wonder Man. So I like his voice is in my head as well. So I feel like if I try to hit that cadence, it's going to come out like
it's because there's so much throat in Harry Shearer's voice. That's why you'll never see me coming, Bart.
Yeah, that's where it'll go.
Throat.
Yes. Yeah.
He speaks so far cadence, back in his mouth.
It's a specific tone, but a very different cadence. So very hard to hit. But he ultimately forces them to sit there and watch him play cello very badly. And then we get to graduation.
I feel like the Hank Azaria characters I can do more than
a little bit. Maybe. But we get all these kind of nice parent and child kind of graduation moments. So we get a nice little moment. Oh, Joey's speech. She gets the inspiration. We didn't mention that.
Joey's speech. Yes,
Bessie gives her, she's struggling with it the whole time. Throughout the whole episode, we see her not being able to figure out what to write. And then Bessie gives her a letter that her mom wrote her for her when she graduated. And so she goes to Dawson and has him read it to her because she's very, struggling to open it and read it. So Dawson reads it to her and she gets inspired. And then, before we go to graduation, we see all these kind of great moments where Bessie, was apologizing for, I'm sorry, mom's not here. And Joey, very nicely says, I was so lucky I had two moms. We see
this beautiful letter, though.
Beautiful letter. Mm-hmm.
Joey gets from her mom. Bessie obviously gives Joey this hidden letter that, please give this to Joey on her graduation day. Bessie, her mother said to her, on her deathbed. And now here she is doing it. Joey can't bring herself to
read. So that's why she goes to Dawson. So I think this is a really kind of good, I like to be reminded of like this relationship, because it's been so far gone from season 1 where that was kind of really heavily established in the focus. So when we kind of can get back to that, like Dawson, of course, is the perfect person to read this letter for her. And they're getting back to the place they were in their relationship. And so I think it was kind of a perfect moment for them to kind of reconnect. And the letter ends up really inspiring her. She kind of talks about holding on to your friendships and those kinds of memories, because they will kind of lead you for the rest of your life, kind of thing.
It's realizing that one must move on, but realizing that in doing that, you don't have to forget all that's come in the past. Hold on to that positivity. Hold on to those memories. Hold on to those
people if you can.
And relationships, because they bring light to your life. And I think it's a very wise thing to say and wise thing to kind of reflect on at the end of this, school year, I suppose, but also at the end of this season of Dawson's Creek for you in your own life. It's a wise thing to sort of reflect on. Just because we move through different chapters, different stages in our lives, doesn't mean we have to close the previous one entirely. We can, there can be some through, some things that sneak through into the next. There can be, should you want them to, obviously. That's kind of left up to your decision, and that's the point of this speech. It is take those memories with you, take the good times with you, leave the bad times behind, sure, but take the good times with you, take the good people
take
with
those
you.
memories with you, yes, and let them kind of lead you into that next phase of your life. So she's really inspired. She ultimately is able to write her speech based kind of off of this letter from her mother. And she ends up giving a really great speech, and there was kind of this fun little conversation about we're not allowed to throw our hats because the pointy ends could hurt somebody, but then they ultimately say screw it and throw their hats, and it's kind of celebration type thing.
Is a disgusting nonsense load of health and safety drivel. I hate that. What do you mean you can't? Oh, this annoys me.
I don't.
Why is this a thing? 25 years ago.
I'm like, I don't think we did that. I don't know. I don't remember doing that. But
did I throw? I must have done. I did. I don't think it was a collective. Like
it was just you by yourself.
It wasn't me by myself, but it was me in my sort of little university friendship group. I think we all had a picture of some sort of video of us all kind of 4 or 5 throwing the hats up. Mm-hmm. And because it's just something you always do. And, maybe one of the hats fell in the water because we were right next to this quay. And it was water where we had our university graduation. Mine didn't fall in the water. I'm sure somebody's probably did it.
You probably did, I'm sure. Yes.
But what a load of nonsense. We're not allowed to throw our hats because the pointy end could hit someone. Watch it for falling down then. Exactly. It's your own fault if it hits you, the pointy hits you.
But I think they expect you to throw it with abandon and just not pay attention. We get kind of nice moments with everybody and their parent. Joey and Bessie have a nice moment. Pacey has a nice moment with Doug, saying he's really proud of him and all of that kind of thing. And kind of course, have to bring up the jokes of Doug being gay in there and all this kind of thing.
We do, don't we?
Of course, at whatever chance we get.
Yes,
but they have a nice moment
and a fancy watch.
Yes, and kind of really are very supportive of his filmmaking dreams, because he ends up kind of editing and sending in his Mr. Brooks documentary for his submission, and Mitch is very proud of him and like, you did an amazing job and we support your dreams, and there's a nice kind of quote on the watch about that kind of thing. So we get to see everybody have kind of a nice moment. Of course, Andy and Jack don't really get that because the actor who played their father passed away. That's I think earlier this season or season 3 passed away. So
I mean, he is a character. I mean, he wasn't the nicest father, was he? There was times when he looked like he was changing for the better.
By the end, he's fully on board with Jack, and they have a good moment.
He was fully on. I'm not saying he wasn't fully on board, but he wasn't. He wasn't Mitch in terms of being.
No, but by the end, the last time we see him and Jack are good. So we just kind of have to assume like that's what it is. And Grams and Jen kind of figure out all their stuff.
It's so nice.
Yes, and then
the love shown between Grams and Jen at this point. Nothing could change my pride for you today, Jennifer.
Yeah, just so sweet.
I don't care that you nearly got into a hell of a lot of trouble for setting the sprinklers off.
And they ultimately end up getting away with it. So the sprinklers do end up going off. And then we cut
which would annoy me.
Yes. And so everyone's at graduation, and then we cut to Pacey boarding a plane to the Caribbean. Yes, and that's how we end the episode. Yeah.
Don't know where he's going exactly in the Caribbean,
No.
Penny, I don't think he doesn't quite fit in the Caribbean. I don't think Pacey. He'll have to go through some cultural changes.
Yes.
He might come back speaking in some sort of strange patois accent, which I think would be hilarious.
Oh my God.
Really, wouldn't it? It would be quite early 2000s for something like that. It reminds me of Seth Green in Can't Hardly Wait. A little bit.
Oh my gosh, no, we don't go that far.
Trying. We don't go that far. I'm glad we don't go that far.
Pacey will acquire something else for his look in the upcoming seasons. I don't know if you'll like it or not, but
acquire a fondness for seafood
appearance-wise.
and
No, appearance-wise.
Yeah. He will develop cornrows. No.
Oh my god. Do you think I'd still be loving the show this much if they put Pacey in cornrows?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so I guess you'll see. But yeah.
Interesting. It's interesting. It's heartwarming. It's positivity for Dawson's Creek at the end here. It might be bittersweet to a degree on seeing Pacey leave, but I think we are very, very hopeful for Pacey. I don't know exactly how much. I don't suppose we're going to see a great deal of Pacey's Caribbean adventures, are we? It's not like we don't get a spin-off.
I honestly don't remember
Pacey's Caribbean adventures, but
he gets into a couple little different career flows in season 5 because he ends up kind of not going to school and just kind of working. Is where we kind of end up seeing him in his life. So, he ends up kind of having bouncing through some different career things.
Interesting. But no, it feels very final, doesn't it? It feels very the end of an era, and it's, as we said, it's not even the finale. We'd still have that
one more episode left.
Next time out, before I think we're actually taking a short break from discovering Dawson's Creek before we get on into season 5, just to throw another show into the mix on our TV based things on a Monday. Which is very exciting. Obviously, we have discovery. We have diving into Doctor Who, don't we? We also have a little bit of Bridgerton to be getting into over the next month as well. As that's very exciting. I think we've got a Bridgerton episode coming next week because the first part of this latest season has just been.
I think we'll give kind of people a week to watch it, and then
we'll give people a week.
And we'll probably watch it in like next 2 weeks time show.
Yes, I mean it's already out at this point, isn't it? Yeah. So as of this show comes out, So we're going to be doing that next week.
Yes,
and Doctor Who as well. Is it next week? I can't quite remember the weeks, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
we have that. We have Doctor Who coming back. Yeah, we have one more episode of Dawson's Creek season 4, of course, as well.
Yeah.
Exciting times on our TV-based things on a Monday, Jeannine. Definitely. Obviously, this is not the only thing we do on It's a Wonderful Podcast. The main show, It's a Wonderful Podcast itself, is there every Friday, celebrating old movies every single week there. Morgan Hasn't Seen is there every Wednesday, as well as we get into 90s rom-coms for February on Morgan Hasn't Seen, a black cinema series on the main show for February as well. What else is there to say? Do subscribe wherever you are listening today. Again, leave your comments on Spotify, rate and review everywhere else, leave your likes and share it around and all that good stuff. Subscribe and ding your notification bell on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel for all the fun stuff we have here. If you want to support us on Patreon or donate in any way, find the links to do that in the description of today's episode. And, of course, just find us on and across all the social medias on the app formerly known as Twitter and on Blue Sky at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Purple Dawn with a 3 instead of the E in there because, Jeannine,
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at the Purple Dawn. All your Pacey Caribbean is where. Or Caribbean Pacey would have been a better way of phrasing it.
You can find me at Jeannine __ on Twitter, Jeannine on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search G9 Design on tpublic.com.
I wonder if he goes to Trinidad. I wonder if you could have met him.
Oh, I know. If you love that.
Go back to your your country of origin. not your country of origin.
No, my family, my descendants.
Your descent, your country of ethnicity, half of it. There you
yes.
Where are you from, Jeannine? Nobody knows.
All of it, essentially. My mom's from St. Lucia. My dad's St. Lucia. My mom's Trinidad. Yeah.
There you go. Does he go to both?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Probably
maybe.
does,
maybe. We'll find out. Maybe.
They're significant Caribbean islands, so he probably does go to both.
Yeah.
He's not just going to spend all his time in Cuba and Dominica and Jamaica, is he? He's going to get down there as well, down the crescent.
Got to. Yeah.
down to there. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's episode of Discovering Dawson's Creek. It does leave us only one thing left to do, Jeannine, and in your finest Harry Shearer principal skill.
No! Thank you, promised me.
In whatever way you see fit for a graduation ceremony, maybe the announcer at a graduation. See what's happening.
3, 2, 1.
Congratulations, the class of 2001. Bye.
Bye.